It has been quite a ride, but the Oakland Roots Sports Club continues to make its mark.
We make sure that everything we're doing is uplifting Oakland, and it's about Oakland first always. It's about knowing your roots and where you come from and representing the city at the highest level.
And they keep reaching higher, on and off the pitch.
I'm proud to represent the Oakland and the community and what it stands for and what the Roots stand for. It's really amazing.
And as the Roots get ready for season 6.
Football-wise, we want to be creative and diverse, similar to Oakland.
They are ready to write another chapter in this incredible story, ready to cement its place in the story of Oakland, the roots, the town, the legacy.
This team has always believed this is about more than a game. This is Oakland first, always.
What we have shown the world today is that Oakland's got the best fans on the planet. Thank you.
And welcome to Oakland Roots Match Day. We have an exciting show for you as we talk about all things Oakland Roots. I'm Jason Appelbaum.
And I'm Claudine Wong. The Roots are getting ready for season 6, which they kick off on Saturday, March 9th. It will be the next chapter in what has been an incredible story of the Roots and the town.
The city is very passionate about their sports and about their people, so I love it. I love being here, and I'm excited for the future. Now that we're the only team here, we kind of have to carry it on our back and put on a good show, you know?
Yeah, and the Roots have always been about more than soccer, and even as the team and the club continue to grow and find success, the mission stays the same. Harness the magic of the town and use sports as a social force for good. And over the next hour, we're going to talk about how the Roots got here and where the Roots are headed, and who better to come on along with this ride, this journey, than two of the Roots co-founders, Chief Purpose Officer Mike Geddes and the team's Chief Marketing Officer, Edris Argondawal. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks for being a part of this. It's so exciting, and we talk about this, and I always love talking about how the Roots got started, because when people hear the story, it really is kind of at the core of where this began. You guys started with many conversations, getting together, going, okay, wait, I have an idea. Is this an idea? How do we make it work? Take us back to the very beginning.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's super humbling to be here, and I really appreciate you all having us. It's been an incredible journey. The story that we have here with Roots and Soul is that of the common folk in our community. Several years ago, we came together as a co-founding group, and we had a vision to create a vehicle for change in our community that leveraged sports, which is something that everyone loves and enjoys. And what better vehicle than soccer, which is one of the most followed sports in the world. It is the world's game, and it is a game that a lot of common folk play across the world. So we came to the table, we had a discussion about this concept, had several conversations, brought the community together, got the feedback we needed to say, hey, let's do this thing. And lo and behold, several years later, we're flying, which is pretty incredible.
And that was back in 2016, but we should say the way you did this is unlike anything I've ever seen in professional sports. It was, what you wanted to do was, in a sense, what we just said, incorporate the town of Oakland from the beginning. Every decision that you made, it wasn't just about a sports team. It was about bringing in leaders from the very beginning, having town halls about what you wanted to do. This is back in 2016. So how do you go from 0 to 100 miles an hour? I mean, you guys are entering season 6 with a huge fan base. How'd you pull that off?
Yeah, I mean, it happens because we care about our community. I myself, born in Oakland, raised in the Bay Area, have a deep appreciation for our community, what it represents, the culture. I feel very passionate about Oakland and the greater East Bay Area. I think that much of what is accepted in our greater society is rooted in some of the ideas and movements that are started here. And
it seems like it just fits.
It fits.
And we talk about the mission statement, if we can pull that up, because the mission statement is important. It's kind of what you've said from the beginning. Oakland Roots is a purpose-driven men's soccer team that seeks to harness the magic of Oakland and the power of sports as a social force for good. But Mike, I feel like when you guys were, what I've read about and when we've talked about, these initial conversations, it seems to me like a puzzle that had to fit together. I can't imagine, I'm partial to the town, of course, but a place where you say, this is our mission statement. Where does that fit? Where will the people who come to our games, who sell out our games, back it, and what does it take? Because as we saw from some of the other teams that started, it's not just about winning. You have to have the right recipe for what you guys dreamed of to actually work.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the question of like, what is a sports team? You know, what is a sports team for? What's its purpose? Why does it exist? And you know, we believe passionately, you know, I'm not from here, I'm from England, and you know, in our culture, a sports team is part of the community, right? It's like hundreds of years old. It's like an asset that is intrinsically linked to the people of that community in that place. The idea that you can kind of take a team and move it to another area just doesn't really exist. And, you know, we just felt, and especially the people who are from here, that Oakland wants that type of model. You know, Oakland, you know, obviously it wants its teams to win, but more than anything, it wants its teams to care about the town as much as they care about it. So that was the idea, is that we could build a model like with that as the starting point, instead of building a model where it's like, we just want to have a team in a league and we can put it anywhere. We were actually starting from the position of Oakland, and like, this has to be what Oakland wants and Oakland supports. We have to do it right, and if we do it right, it'll pay off, and kind of that's where we are with the incredible support and energy that we've got today.
Yeah, and your story, you know, Mike, I mean, we've got to talk about, you know, what you did, because you broadcast games for the BBC soccer, and then you worked on a documentary in South Africa, and that led you to Soccer for Life. In a way, your partnership here was perfect synergy, because you had already started a soccer organization, or helped to start one.
Not many people can say that.
In South Africa. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it represents what makes Oakland special, right? You have many people from different countries all over the world. You know, I'm one of the people who's moved here with my family, and I'm really kind of blessed to make it our home. And then you have people who are from here, still with a kind of international background, who have this deep passion for the town. And that's what makes it such an amazing melting pot and such a diverse coming together of ideas. And, you know, me personally, I obviously grew up in a culture where sports teams were part of the community. I got to spend some of my career looking at the ways in which soccer can actually be utilized as a catalyst for positive social change. And I just believe strongly that, you know, that is a thing. And when I met Idris and he told me about this vision, I was like, yeah, I've kind of seen that, bits and pieces of it. I've been involved in programs which started out as soccer programs for the community with a social purpose, but over time evolved into professional soccer teams. There was one called Kick for Life in Lesotho in the middle of South Africa that I was very privileged to be a small part of. And, you know, we built a soccer field, and that turned into a huge amount of community development. They created a team. So when Idris told me about his idea, I said, hey, I've seen that. I think it can work. And I think it can only work in a city like Oakland. This is the place where we have to make this happen. So actually one of the young people from that African project was part of our first ever public town hall that we held in Oakland, where we were really just surfacing this idea of, if we were going to create a sports team around a social purpose, what does Oakland want to see in that? And that really is kind of key to our success, is that we listened a lot. We had, I mean, Idris had several conversations. It was a lot of conversations and listening to people. And fortunately, we have very smart people who could turn that into a visual representation, so that when the team started, people were like, oh, this is what I've been talking about.
This is the vision.
Yeah.
All right. It has obviously worked 6 seasons later, but now the conversation continues. And this is a continuous conversation. We talk about, if you can't play if you don't have a place to play, and certainly that has been one of the kind of themes of where you're going to be permanently. And the dream, of course, has always been to build this dedicated professional soccer stadium, not just for the Roots, but for the soul and for the growth that you want to see here.
You know, absolutely. And you know, you're home until that dream is realized right there, which is the Malibu parking lot of the Oakland Coliseum, which I know that you guys want to build that, and we'll talk about that in a second. But you've been at Laney College, Cal State East Bay, and now that would be a 10,000 seat stadium at the Oakland Coliseum. Where are we with that project?
Yeah, and you know, just quickly, one of the biggest challenges we faced starting out was that Oakland has no stadia that meet the standards for professional soccer in the United States. So we had a choice, which was, well, we either start in a different city, and that just wouldn't work for us, or we invest a huge amount in actually creating a stadium in Oakland that would meet those standards. So for a long time, we were doing that with a local college, kind of investing a huge amount of resources in transforming that venue every single game day. That's been tough. And you know, from day one, we've always said the goal has to be Oakland's own dedicated soccer stadium, men's, women's, professional soccer, and the community have access as well. So the Malibu lot, the project we're working on there, we're super excited about it. That is where we want to get to. You know, you may have heard that we've expressed interest in also playing in the Coliseum.
Yep.
That remains something that we're very excited about. We're working really hard with the city and the county and the JPA. We hope to have some positive announcements to make about that soon. But our goal is really, first and foremost, get back to the city of Oakland. We love playing in Hayward. We have an incredible host there in Cal State East Bay. It's an amazing game day environment, but we want to be able to bring soccer back to Oakland.
And you have sold out games, so you have proof in the pudding, as they say, to say, look, we need a place to play. People want to come watch us play.
Yeah.
Training is a big deal too. There was some big news with just making sure that you guys are at the old Raiders training facility that you've definitely made your own now. How important was that to make sure that you have a home base?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the training grounds are where you build culture every single day. If you want to be considered a professional team, if we want to have Seoul elevate to professional, having a home that they can build that soccer culture day to day is pivotal to our success. And so this has been such a blessing, and the city and county has been very, very supportive in the process. We're excited about the progressions made on that front. This would give us the ability to not only call the facility home for all three of our clubs, but have a potential conversation about what this facility means for the World Cup, which is coming right around the corner.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, also just as a recruiting tool.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is a first-class facility, and a little ironic. I mean, it's not beyond anybody to notice that was the Raiders facility, and they left town, and now you guys took it over. So we're just getting started here, though, where there's a lot more to talk about on this Oakland Roots match day coming up, how the Roots' commitment to their community is truly making an impact.
Plus, the Oakland Roots aren't just about one team. The Oakland Soul, integral to this club's future. We talk about the soul of this group next.
Beautiful ball through. Challenge inside the 18. Brickman strikes, and Brickman scores! A goal for the Soul. A goal for the town.
Part of what makes us, us. It's how we plant our roots.
It is indeed a club that is about a whole lot more than just soccer. And welcome back to Oakland Roots Match Day. From the beginning, the club has been committed to being truly rooted in Oakland, Claudine.
It has, and as it enters its sixth season, all you have to do is look at the many programs off the pitch as proof. The Roots Chief Purpose Officer, Mike Geddes, is back with us to continue that conversation. And really, this is so important. This has been from the beginning. You don't start it, and some people say, oh yeah, we sort of do this off the side. We'll give 10% of something. This has been a very different thing for you, and specifically you guys have these purpose partners, and you've kind of had these from these beginning. Explain to us what the purpose partners are and what that actually means for the Roots.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the times in professional sports, you have the players have to win, the front office has to make money, and then if you have a foundation, it's kind of like a separate thing over here. And what we wanted to do is make sure that the purpose of the club was built into everything that we do, every single decision we make, why I have a job as a Chief Purpose Officer. The purpose partners for us are some of the very first people we went to when we had the idea for the club. The idea that there are organizations here, there are people here, individuals who've been working for years and years to give kids access to the game of soccer who haven't had it in the past. And they were people that we wanted to make sure that we engaged with early on and said, like, you guys are the pioneers. You guys are the ones who've been fighting in the trenches for years to make sure that more kids have access to this beautiful game. We have to support you. So we created this purpose partnership where we work with these organizations. We give them access to funding, access to equipment, access to the players, bringing kids out to games, basically just trying to make their job more effective because, again, this is the business. If we have more kids who can access the game of soccer, that's not only more fans, it's also more potential athletes that otherwise would never have got the chance to play.
Yeah, and one of those is Oakland Genesis, underserved youth who, for folks out there who don't know, I mean, soccer right now, youth soccer is largely pay to play. You got to open up the wallet.
Yep. At the higher levels, it's really hard to compete at that space.
It is, and it's thousands of dollars for families, and a lot of times, a lot of very talented players don't get discovered because they can't afford it. Talk about Oakland Genesis.
Yeah, and Oakland Genesis is actually an amazing purpose partner of ours who have co-founded by one of our former players. You know, someone who, there's Matt, you know, he's someone who kind of saw the privileges that he had being able to play the game of soccer and where that took him in his career, and just felt like, well, why is it that so many of our kids don't have that same opportunity? So what he's doing is working with kids from underserved communities, giving them access to the game, but also making sure that that access, that love for the game, keeps them in school, gets them better grades, get them better outcomes in life. Because obviously, you know, a career in athletics, it doesn't even matter if you become a professional. There are so many benefits that you get from your health, your psychosocial wellness, things for your family. So really, really critical work that is needed in Oakland, you know, more than ever, because even if these kids don't come and play for the Roots or the Soul, they will have a better life if they've been able to have access to sports.
It's the vehicle, and Matt
Exactly.
Fondy has talked about that, and it's been a long time, you know, it's talking about on the Genesis pitch per se about it's the transportation, it's bringing it to them, it's saying you need to get good grades and structuring the sport in a space that says this is what success means, and it's not just about how many balls hit the back of the net. And I think that that's crucial. When you talk about Project 510, that is also another space. When you talk about the kind of the siphoning of talent and the spotting of talent, if you don't have, you know, the keeper coach that is helping you all day long and that your family is fortunate to be able to pay for, how you find not only talent but local talent. 510 is a huge part of that.
Yeah, super important. I mean, we know that like Oakland fans, they love nothing more than local talent, right? And there is so much talent in the Bay Area, but so much of that talent never gets the chance to express itself, because if your local soccer team is like 40 miles away and they're asking you to come train 2-3 nights a week and your parents both work, or you only have one parent and they're working, you're going to be excluded from that. Or if they're asking you to pay to become the part of their academy, then those are all barriers to kids being able to follow their dreams. Project 510 for us is a critical part of our success, and it's the reason why we've invested so much from so early in building this. I mean, we call it an academy, but really it's about leaving kids in their environment but still giving them access to professional development opportunities, and making sure that kids who are local, who maybe don't have the means to like travel a long way or pay money to get into academies, still have the chance.
It's an equitable pipeline.
Exactly. And for us, again, like that is the right thing to do, but it's also the smart thing to do, because there are so many talented kids out there that we want to have career paths. And what's super exciting for us is seeing those kids now graduate, get minutes in our first team, find professional careers elsewhere, go to college. These are all amazing outcomes for us. And long term, it's about building that foundational pipeline so that the Roots in the Soul in the future, they always know, and fans always know, if you come to our games, you're going to see opportunities for local talent being able to shine on the field.
How does all of this sort of uplift just youth soccer in general? Just seeing professionals out there and seeing you guys in the community. I mean, we've seen in the Bay Area and many parts of this country just an explosion of soccer in general, but youth soccer particularly.
Yeah, I mean, I would say particularly on the girls' side, you know, having female athletes who look like these girls from Oakland playing for an Oakland team, it's so important. Just being able to go and watch them and think that could be me, you know, have a possibility model, meet them, talk to them, see them in the community. It's huge. And that's why we think it's so important for us to be here, to make this visible and possible to Oakland youth, because, you know, their dreams can become real.
You can't be what you can't see. And when you talk about what you can see, the Soul, amazing. If we can talk about that, because I want to make sure that we really dive into that, because the Oakland Soul is really an important part of this and really bringing that to this space. So in its 2024 USL Women's League schedule that starts in May, we're super excited for that. They had a sellout inaugural season. Still work to be done. The goal is to create an elite pathway to pro soccer. But this team was launched back in 2022 on the 50th anniversary of Title IX. So when you talk about the creation, and when you were talking about Soul and really what you wanted it to stand, how did that genesis happen, and how did you make sure that it was true?
Yeah, I mean, you better believe that from the very first second we started talking about pro soccer in Oakland, people were saying women, women, women. We need a women's team here. And at the time of the creation of the club, there just wasn't the same depth of opportunity on the women's side to create a professional, high-quality product and then grow it. So we started on the men's side, but we knew that vision would not be complete and will not be complete until we have men's and women's pro soccer playing at the same level. It was super important for us to make the soul real. Right now, until we have our own stadium, we can't operate 2 professional teams, but we thought we just have to make this thing real and allow people to see it. So we're very happy to be able to start in something called the USLW League, which is a brand new league offering these opportunities for teams that are small to grow and kind of prove the market that there is a demand. And man, we've been blown away by the passion of the fans for seeing it. And basically, we've built it in exactly the same way. We think we are a club with 2 teams, 1 purpose. Everything is all about this same purpose, putting the community first. It's so special to us to have a female team operating, and we just cannot wait until we can make them fully professional and have both teams operating right here in Oakland.
Yeah, so for folks who don't know, the Oakland Soul is a amateur team playing at the highest level. I mean, you would say that their level of play on the women's side is got to be equal to the Roots, but you don't have a stadium for them. And there's some advantages right now to being an amateur team. High school students can even play for the Oakland Soul right now.
Yeah, college players. The USLW League, which is a national league. Very high standards. It's really changed. The USL is doing a lot of great work to change the game in terms of how many opportunities are out there for female athletes, because, we have a lot of talent, and a lot of those girls or young women, they leave the game or they go abroad because there just aren't enough spaces. So the more teams, the better. The Oakland Soul gives us a chance for young local talent. It gives us a chance for players who are playing in college. They can still play for the Soul. We've had some players who've come in from international and they've gone on to be professionals. So it's about, for us, putting on the best quality product we can and show what women's soccer can look like in Oakland. Ever since that first announcement, the support from the fans has been huge, and Oakland women's soccer is absolutely massive.
Can't wait to see where that's headed.
Yeah, and if you haven't been to a game, go. It is a great atmosphere at the Oakland Soul, for sure.
All right, coming up next, Oakland Roots Match Day. The team has made a commitment to the community it calls home, and we're going to talk more about that and what's next in the future as we break down also the talent on the pitch.
Yeah, when we come back, the conversation continues. Ed Reese joins us, and we get out on the pitch, talk about the season ahead. Spotlight on that man, Johnny Rodriguez, leading goal scorer. Oakland Roots Match Day. We'll be right back. Welcome back to this Oakland Roots Match Day special. They kick off the season Saturday, March 9th against the Indy Express at Cal State East Bay in Hayward.
As this will be their 6th season as professional franchise, hopes are high that this squad's going to make a deep playoff run. Entering last year, the Roots were coming off 2 straight trips to the USL Championship playoffs. And then last season came down to a win or you're in match at home against El Paso Locomotive. Hard-fought match, heartbreaker match, 2 first-half goals against, a missed penalty shot, a red card, 1 spectacular goal, and then lost by a goal. That 2-1 defeat kept Oakland out of the playoffs for the first time as a member of the USL.
Yeah, Claudine, thanks for reminding us. First of all, the Roots, they needed just 3 points out of their final 9 matches, but 2 ties and 7 losses left them on the outside looking in. Head coach Noah Delgado says the team will use that as motivation heading into this season.
We had a lot of good stuff that happened during the season. We had some great runs, some win streaks. At the end, we didn't come through. So I think for the staff and the players that are returning, it's just another opportunity to showcase what we can do. And it's a long season. We have to be prepared for that and be patient with what's going on. It's a very, very long season.
Okay, and we welcome back co-founders Mike Geddes and Ed Reese Argondewall and talk about what the team can do on the pitch. We'll springboard off what the coach said there. Looking ahead to this season, what do you think the mindset of the team is going into this year?
Sure. Well, first of all, I can't believe you all brought up last season.
I know. I'm sorry.
However, as Claudine mentioned, we have a high standard for the club. We want to be able to create a product on and off the field that represents the community, that the community can be proud of. I think with every incredible accomplishment in life, you have to go through some level of setbacks. And for us, last year was an important learning lesson on the field. I think everyone in the organization feels it. We're motivated to show up on March 9th and prove to folks that this is the squad that really represents the badge authentically.
Because I think your guys' purpose is clear in being on and off the pitch.
Right.
But fans like to win.
Winning is winning.
No doubt about that.
We
Winning
do too.
is winning. And so while you elevate all these other spaces, you know, that discussion about, Mike, how do you feel about the talent on this team and the ability to move that forward and how important that is? I think fans can be patient for a minute. They can be like, oh, that was a bummer, but you don't want that to go on too long.
Yeah, and like, you know, don't be mistaken. Like, we want to win
Yes.
more than anybody. I mean, we talk about, like, we have a purpose, but winning and kind of being financially successful, these are all part of the purpose. We're not going to be successful unless we do those things. And it's difficult to find people to build in a team that can kind of hold those things together. We're very lucky that we've been able to build a technical team that understands that. They want to win more than anybody, but they're also able to think about, you know, how do those athletes represent themselves off the field? How are they role models? You know, how can they inspire more young people to get involved in the game? But also, how can they be champions on the field? You know, we have a technical director, Jordan Farrell, who's really able to hold all these visions together and also focus into building winning teams on the men's and women's side. And, you know, we believe we can be most effective in terms of being a force for good in the community if we're a winning, successful team. So that's absolutely part of it, yeah.
All right, we'll get little into the X's and O's here. The last three USL champion winners have come out of the Western Conference. Phoenix Rising taking the cup last year. Just how tough, I'll ask you, Ed Reese, how tough is the competition? Is it always, I imagine it's always getting better.
Yeah, always. I mean, the game's evolving tremendously. There's a lot of new technology out there. There's a lot of new methodologies that is really enhancing and advancing the game at a fast pace. And the Western Conference is always very, very tough. It's a competitive landscape, and we know that both home and away matches this season and prior seasons were challenging. But, you know, we're up for that. Oakland has grit, and we're tough. So
you play with grit. It's a certain style, I think, that people have said about the Roots that is an Oakland style and recognizable. And it starts with some of the players, too, that we see.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny Rodriguez. I mean, you can't talk about the Oakland Roots without talking about your striker, leading goal scorer, embodies the spirit of Oakland, longest tenured Roots player. And he's seen what the evolution of this team has really been about from the beginning. So we caught up with the 25-year-old, talked with him about what Roots fans mean to him, as well as being a top goal scorer. Johnny Rodriguez has scored lots of goals as a member of the Oakland Roots, but his first one is his most memorable.
My proudest moment would be the first goal I scored, just because that was kind of my way of telling myself, like, okay, like, you're not just part of the team. You know, you kind of belong here. You're ready for the next jump. You're ready to evolve as a player and play with the guys that have been here for a while now. I think that first goal will always live in my mind forever. And I plan on scoring a lot more goals and giving myself and the fans more happy moments so we can all celebrate together. And hopefully that's in the near future.
That future seems to be right now for Rodriguez, who led the team last year with 12 goals. One of those was the Roots' goal of the season, an honor very familiar to Rodriguez.
Here's Memo Diaz, looking long again for Johnny Rodriguez! On the spin, on the score sheet, Oakland's ahead!
He's picked up goal of the season for the last 3 years. His bicycle kick in 2021 is the stuff of legend.
That ball stayed in, acrobatic effort! Incredible! Johnny Rodriguez, what a way to get your second goal for the Roots.
It was a goal that almost didn't happen.
We were down in Phoenix for our first league game. I wanted to do a bicycle kick, and I did it, and unlucky for me, I came down very bad on my shoulder, and I completely tore all my ligaments in my shoulder, so I was out for like 4 or 5 months.
Despite missing a big chunk of the season, Rodriguez returned to the pitch to play in 20 games, with one caveat.
The doctor told me the only rule he has for me is never to do that again. So that game comes, you know, there's a ball over the top. It was just a split second. I was like, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I mean, if something happens, I've been doing this my whole life, so I did it, and I look up, and then it's just the back of the net. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. It was insane. The doctor was in the sideline like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm sorry, but I had to do it. I had to do it, and that was probably up there for like one of the best goals I've ever scored in my life.
Rodriguez's 19 career goals are tied for the most in club history. And with goals comes recognition and getting noticed around town, something he gets a kick out of.
I love when I do because it gets the fans a little time to meet me personally, because everybody, some people will know me on the field, but I'm a whole different person when it comes to personally. I like to joke around and have fun, and I think when they see me out there in public, I kind of like to give them a good interaction just so they can remember me in a good way.
Those interactions are something that motivate Rodriguez and his teammates, and it's something they never take for granted.
I keep saying this, and I'll keep saying it, that we have the best supporters groups in the league, and it's not close because, we travel every state, every away state, and we see it all, but there's nothing like that edgy type of fans that we have here in Oakland, that they support us and they give us just that little edge to go out there and try to win the game.
Yeah, Johnny, talking about the fans and how they give them the edge, and it's probably pretty nice when one of your best players is also a pretty good ambassador to the team. He's got a lot of charisma. It must make your job a little easier too.
Yeah, it does. And just watching some of those goals, I was getting the hair standing up there, because those are some of the kind of pivotal moments in our history, the moments that people still talk about. And the great thing about Johnny is, he's box office on the field. I think he's won our goal of the season 3 times. Fans love him because he gives everything on the field. He scores incredible goals. He's really entertaining. He's the type of player that we want on the field representing Oakland and giving everyone a great time. But he's also a great guy. He's out in the community. He's talking to kids. He knows how to be an ambassador, face of the club. So yeah, just a wonderful guy to have in our team.
2-time junior college player of the year right there too. This guy's a real player.
You could not watch him and not smile. Like whether it's the goal or hearing him talk. But there's also another guy, Idris. Brian Tamakis.
Yeah.
When you talk about star power and you talk about the people in marketing, which is your jam.
Yep, absolutely.
And you've got a guy like that. Tell me about him.
Absolutely. Well, we love Brian Tamakis for several reasons. He is El Salvador's captain and one of their greatest players. We're super excited to have, as you can see, he's a
so you got the skill set, but he also can air violin.
Amazing personality, and this means so much for our Oakland community, for our El Salvadoran community, for our Latin community. These players on our roster represent so much of the diversity of Oakland. And here's Brian doing his thing that he always does, which is show up and shows out all the time.
Well, the fact that you guys, it's kind of a dream team when you have players who can show on the field and show off the field, that it makes the job even easier in promoting the club.
It makes my job very easier.
Yes, all right.
Certainly.
Well, we got lots more to talk about.
Yeah, we're just getting started here. Coming up next on Oakland Roots Match Day, it's a new year, which means a new style. We'll show off the new jerseys, the kits, and what the team will wear this upcoming season. They're pretty sharp. Stay with us. That is the release hype video for the new kits. Welcome back to the Oakland Roots Match Day special, and co-founder Idris Argandawal is here with us right now. What struck me about the release video here, the hype video, not just the jerseys which you're wearing right now, but the way everything you do is so intentional.
Yeah.
You
it was a cool video.
You made that video so Oakland. You must have a great team of people just working on, and everything is just so purposeful.
Absolutely. Well, everything is purposeful, but you can't represent something with the word Oakland in it without style and grace. You have to pay homage to your roots, and that's what we do.
You could, but people wouldn't like it.
They wouldn't like it.
So, they wouldn't like it. We were just talking about the pressure of a kit. So tell us what you've got here, and tell us the Tribune Tower and really what the message behind this year's kit is.
Absolutely. So, this year is a special one. We're celebrating the trajectory of our club, the growth of our club, and the vertical stripes are a homage to that growth in our process. This kit that I'm wearing today extracts the colors from the Tribune Tower in celebration of its 100th year of existing. It's such a iconic structure that represents so much of our downtown and overall identity in Oakland, and we thought, what better way to pay homage and extract those colors, tell the story of the Tribune.
And you got the keeper goalie too?
We got the keeper kit as well, which is a fun rendition of the mosaic in our crest and pays homage to the iconic Jorge Campos, which was a Mexican goalkeeper. So
that's so cool. And I think, even in the early days of the Roots, you knew from the merch merch matters. that when
That's
people
what
embraced it,
well,
right?
It is so interesting because you see people walking around. In fact, one of our producers, he came in with this Oakland Soul, and he bought the jersey. Didn't even know what the Oakland Soul was, but he said, "This is super cool." And just real quick, the team really took off after you partnered with Oaklandish and released all the merchandise, right?
Very grateful for that relationship. Being an Oakland Roots and Soul fan means so much more than just the football. It's about embracing inclusivity and diversity, representing the values of Oakland, and that can make everyone an Oakland fan. And that's why the merch took off, and we're so excited to continue to see see that happen.
I
So
like
cool.
it. I love merch. I like Roots merch.
Me too.
I love merch.
Are you planting a seed here for
A care package
Yes,
for
thank you
Claudine.
for the merch. Yeah. All right. Well, we have deep roots with the Roots and with soccer in general.
And James Torrez, I think, is probably our resident, soccer guy. Still plays, one of the few that, without bad knees, I guess.
Blame it on the knees.
James, though, you join us now. I guess you tried to take on the Roots today.
Listen, don't challenge the Roots unless you are prepared to go for a wild ride. They accepted my challenge and they took it to heart. We go head to head on 3 different skill challenges. How did I do? Probably exactly as well as you would think.
Bro, I just want to be on TV. Leave me alone.
Look at this.
Look at
You're not going to say nothing?
Say what? Is it wrong to be on TV?
We had some fun with the Oakland Roots, but they wanted to make clear they were not going easy on me.
I think I'm going to fit right in.
Not worried at all.
Oh, I'm very worried, yeah.
Our first skill challenge, 3 rounds of rondo. Simply put, I have 30 seconds to intercept passes between 3 players.
Yeah!
First round took me 3 seconds. Second round now with 4 players.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
That took me 15 seconds. Third round, 5 players, and they made it the full 30 seconds.
11.
Do it! Do it!
8, 9, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
He's getting tired.
And got me good.
He megged me. That's what hurt most.
Our second skills game, the crossbar challenge. We start 18 yards out and we have to hit the top bar of the goal. Everyone missed this round. Now we go 30 yards out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh! Let's go, James. Let's go. Ooh, yeah. Oh, that's it.
People back home. There it is.
Now, 40 yards from goal.
If the Roots are saying it's far, it's far.
Let's go.
Oh, there we go.
Our final challenge.
Trusty bright orange keeper gloves.
A penalty shootout. Me versus 5 Roots and their goalkeeper.
All right. Thank you, guys. That was a lot of fun.
The Roots win the shootout 4-3.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. A lot of fun.
And we got to give a quick shout out to all the guys who are being such good sports. The list of names you see here, those are the guys that we played against. Babacar Nijai, Camden Riley, Irakose Donaciano, Neville Hackshaw, Jessiel Cedeno, and of course the goalkeeper there, Timothy Sorrell. Guys, like I said, they did not go easy on me.
No, I'm impressed though, James.
Yeah, no, you held your own.
I'd like to think that that's a respect thing, that they took it hard on me.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
that's what happens when you
Love
challenge
it.
the Roots.
And you guessed right on one of those. It's just that the ball was hit a little too hard.
They knew what they were doing,
Yeah,
for
they
sure.
did. All right, well, let's talk about the mental well-being of athletes. That's something that has gained more attention in recent years.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Coming up, we're going to sit down with the Roots mental performance coach and learn about the unseen training that takes place.
Welcome back to Oakland Roots Match Day. Thanks for joining us as we continue to talk about all things Roots. I'm Claudine Wong.
And I'm Jason Appelbaum, and there's more to the game than a player's athletic ability and to be a successful soccer player. The mental side of the game is equally important. James is back with us for a discussion about that part of the game. James.
Jason, Claudine, well, the Roots, of course, as an organization, they remain way more focused on things than just soccer. Mental health has been a huge conversation growing in the last few years. And joining me to talk more about it, Lisa Bontasumi, who's the team's mental health performance coach. Thank you so much. You have such an important job that is somewhat new to this organization, too. When I think of this title, a mental performance coach, I often think about kids who stress about what they're supposed to do in the game, stress about, what their performance looks like and how they balance their life as well. Is that kind of the same thing at this higher level?
Yes, of course. I mean, I think there's more pressures, there's more distractions, there's more ways that players can get in their head. It's their job now, they're making a living. And so there's a lot that goes into it. My role is helping them perform at the highest level on the pitch, but also in their life. Because a lot of these guys are in a different country for the first time, or have family in other countries. They're new fathers, new husbands. So they're more than just players, they're humans to us, and that's how we treat them.
Now, you have a long history in this profession. You didn't just work with soccer players. I think even today you still work with a number of athletes in different sports. What kind of trends do you see differently in soccer than you might not see anywhere else?
I think because I see and we treat here at Oakland the athlete as a human. They're all humans, no matter how old they are, where they're at. I think we're special here in that we have a social justice piece of it, that we want to provide a healthy environment all the way around, and mental health is included in that and prioritized.
Yeah, I remember growing up as a kid, I would get in some mental funk sometimes where you think you're not fast enough. You think sometimes the lights in the stadium just seem a lot brighter. Everyone's moving faster than you. You're not touching the ball the way you should be. What kind of signs do you look for from the players, especially from the Roots team, that kind of are obvious to you that you think this is a time where I need to step in or say something or let them know that they have services available?
Yes, I think that if it goes like 1 week they're playing at a high level and then the next week they're not and no injury occurred, there's something going on mental.
Okay.
So it could be something going on at home. It could be them not being able to let go of a mistake from the last game, or someone's coming to see me and I'm kind of nervous about it. There is nothing physically that can happen from one game to the other unless you get injured. It's mental, and we focus on that. And so I like to dig in there and ask, what's different about this week than last week? And then we go from there.
Yeah, and how do you address that? I mean, is it as much of a conversation, and I'm sure it's very difficult to explain your job in just a few words and a few short segments. But, say someone comes in and saying, my mind is just not in the right place. Mm-hmm. How do you work with them on that?
Yeah, I explore if they have the self-awareness to tell me how come it's different. Then I might put in some mental tools and skills for them to train on. So breath work is really, really important. I work a lot with the guys on breath work, centering, being in the moment, not thinking about the last play and not thinking about the play to come or what's going on at home. I think it's really important for them to stay positive in their mind. They're very critical and hard on themselves.
Sure.
They're the hardest that anybody is going to be on them. The coach, their parents, whoever, they're going to be the hardest. So being a little bit more easeful there, staying in the moment, being mindful, which there's a whole thing about it's woo-woo to be mindful.
Yeah.
But if we take it to sports, all the high achieving athletes all have some kind of mental performance program that they train on.
Yeah, well, because they're so competitive too, right?
Yes.
They win all the time. They want to be performing the best that they can all the time.
And I think focusing on the process and the journey, not just the outcome, is really, really important. Because the guys think, I had a bad game because I did this, and wrong. But what did you improve on at least 1% from the last game? Mm-hmm. And that's how we measure it.
You mentioned the relationship between parents and kids, too. I'm going to take this down to a youth level. There's that stigma, that stereotype that parents can be overly aggressive at some of these youth games for kids who are as young as 5 years old. I think what may seem like an obvious answer to this question, but what are parents doing wrong sometimes, and what are the things they need to be doing right?
Well, the number one thing I have found in working with parents and young athletes is the parents want to relive their glory days through their kid. And think I didn't get to this place, so I'm gonna make sure everything happens for my kid to represent me and make me look better and heal my own trauma about not making it or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's important for the parent to make sure that you're meeting them where they're at. They want unconditional love. You're the parent, you're not the coach. And so the coach is going to give them all of that. They're going to be so internally critical of themselves and hard to let go of mistakes. That's the number one thing that youth players have a hard time with, letting go of mistakes and moving forward. And then getting into that like black hole, one mistake after the other. But parents, just chill. Like, just chill, take a breath.
At the end of the day, just chill.
And enjoy who they are on and off the field, and like that they contribute to the game and their team much more than just what they do athletically. They're good teammates, they're leaders. They pick their teammates up when they're not doing well. So I think there's so much more to it, and the parents need to be more aware of that.
Lisa Bontasumi, you are doing some incredible work, very important work, and of course a conversation that wasn't as, I think, in the spotlight as it was maybe 10, 15 years ago. So we really appreciate you being here. We appreciate you talking about it. Stay with us. Oakland Roots Match Day returns right after this.
Welcome back to Oakland Roots Match Day. Let's talk a little bit about money and ownership, because there was a big move last year by the Roots to change some things up. While one pro team from Oakland was looking to leave town, the Roots, they were doing just the opposite, offering the public the opportunity to actually own a piece of the club.
And people wanted to be a part of that. More than 4,500 investors joining. Some big names hopping into that game as well. Mike, Idris, thanks so much for continuing this conversation. Mike, 4,500 plus, is that what you expected? Hope for.
You reached your goal.
We blew past our goal. I mean, Idris and I, we dream big. We have such incredible, high expectations and dreams about what this could be. I think even we didn't quite realize how many people would get behind the community investment round. Actually, over 5,000 investors by the time we finished the biggest community investment round in the history of American sports. And we just felt that this was the right time, and the right thing to do was give people the chance to own a small piece of the club. And just seeing the responses of why people invested, even people who had never seen a game of soccer in their life, they were like, I just love what you guys are trying to do, and I want to be part of it. And it was just so powerful for us.
And it's so on brand with what the Roots
Absolutely.
do, with everything you do in the community. And I want to ask you, Idris, also about some of the bigger names that now have ownership of the Roots.
Yeah, no doubt. So the beautiful thing about this is that we have some really high-level influencers in our investor group, including rock star Billy Joe Armstrong, G-Eazy, Marshawn Lynch, Gary Payton too. And all of these folks, the special thing is that they all have connections and ties to Oakland and the greater Bay Area. You don't see this type of buy-in, and that only comes when you really do it for the town and you put on for the people that put you on.
We love it. All right, we want to talk about membership, because certainly that's a big deal in terms of how you get on board with going to these games. Put it there on your screen. 2025 stadium seating. That'll give you guaranteed tickets for all 17 home games. You get discounts on the merch we've been talking about so much.
And we've both, Claudine and I should say, we've both been to Roots games and Soul games, and it is a great experience.
Oh, it's so much fun.
It's kind of like going to spring training in baseball. You get up close and personal, and you get to really enjoy the games.
We also have a very special announcement. We're so excited if you haven't already heard. KTVU and the Roots have renewed their partnership. But it gets even better this time around, because we're airing every match.
Every single match. It used to be the away matches, guys, and now it's the home matches as well. So if you can't make it out to the game, you can still check out all the games.
Oakland Soul will have a home match, too, that will be on as well on June 8th.
KTVU and KTVU Plus. And it all kicks off next week against Indy 11 on March 9th.
March 9th. We'll also have a special live post-game show right after that game. So we want to thank Idris. Thank you, Mike.
So
what fun it has been.
Means a lot. Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in.
All right, this has been Oakland Roots Match Day. Thanks for watching.
See you later.